Hey gorehounds! Candyman 2021 got totally whitewashed. It's full of annoying white kids. And they made the Candyman white too.
Willy Wonka was born to be a Candyman?
The only thing this movie does right is the candy. There's all sorts of cool candy. Which reminds me, I gotta take my medication.
Oh fuck, I've been watching the wrong movie.
Candyman starts in 1977 in Cabrini Green, the main location from the original movie. The police are hunting local resident Sherman Fields, who they are blaming for putting razor blades in candy. We then jump to present day, where artist Anthony hears the legend of Helen Lyle, who allegedly went on a killing spree before kidnapping a baby and then burning herself to death on a bonfire. Anthony, intrigued by the tale, goes to Cabrini Green looking for inspiration. He gets stung by a bee and meets William Burke, not to be confused with William Birkin from Resident Evil 2. William tells him the story of Candyman, and we find out that William is the kid at the beginning of the movie who witnessed the police beating Sherman to death. He reveals that after the police killed Sherman, the razor blades still appeared in candy, meaning Sherman was innocent. Finally, he tells Anthony that if you say Candyman 5 times whilst looking in a mirror, Sherman's spirit will appear and kill you. So naturally he goes home and says Candyman 5 times in the mirror. One thing that I've never really been clear on is the rules that govern Candyman. On the surface it seems simple. You just say his name 5 times and die. But we know that's not the case for Helen in the original, or just now in this movie. When Helen says his name, he frames her for murder like an asshole. When Anthony says it, he just keeps seeing Candyman everywhere. But I admit, it would be really stupid to have an exposition scene where they discuss what Candyman can and can't do. I mean, for starters, who would even have that information? The Ghostbusters? Maybe Candyman's got his own entry in Tobin's Spirit Guide.
I could look for the name Zool in the usual literature.
Spade's catalog.
Tobin's Spirit Guide.
Yeah.
Anyway, Anthony creates a new piece of art based on the Candyman legend, titled #SayMyName, that he displays at his girlfriend's art exhibit. But then everyone slags it off, which causes Anthony to get angry and verbally insult an art critic and his girlfriend's co-worker Clive. We then get our first Candyman kill, when Clive's girlfriend summons him in the art piece and dooms both of them. Again, I have another issue with the rules of Candyman. The girl does the summoning, but the guy gets caught up as collateral damage. In the original movie, there's even an example of a kill taking place when Candyman wasn't even summoned, although an argument can be made that it's actually Helen herself doing the killing. But I'll leave that for another video. What are the rules here? Would it work if you're looking at a mirror on TV and said his name 5 times? What if you called your friend and said Candyman whilst on loudspeaker, and they were looking at a mirror? Would it work? Why not? Hell, in one of the sequels he gets summoned by a shiny book.
Candyman.
And why 5 times? Why not 55?
Candyman. 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 Candyman.
Oh, 'cause it'll be boring. So anyway, Anthony sees the murder on the news, but he's more pleased that his art piece was mentioned rather than being shocked at the killings. He becomes more obsessed with Candyman and gets Helen's old tape journals from the library. On the way out, he has another encounter with Candyman in the elevator. In between feverishly painting and picking at his rotten hand, "Go to the hospital, bro!" Anthony goes to see the snooty art critic instead. She previously disparaged his work, but now that there's a media circus around the art and the killings, she's suddenly interested. Anthony gets her to say Candyman to connect deeper with the work, and we get a cool mirror sequence and another kill. In this scene we get a hit of social commentary, mainly about cultural appropriation, but I feel like there's a hint of sub-commentary about how some people only get promoted when it benefits other people or a company, like a diversity hire, or when they can make money off of them. Or if they have big titties. I mean, that's why I promoted my secretary here at the mortuary. Later that night, or maybe the next night, I don't know, the movie isn't too clear. The art critic murder is brought to light at a dinner party, and even though Anthony was the last person to see her alive, he totally plays it cool and acts calm. He goes back to see Burke, who tells him the origin of the Candyman legend, and how original Candyman Daniel Robitaille was killed. And since then, the soul of murdered black men become part of the Candyman hive. Wow, you really slowly doled out this legend, bro. Couldn't you just tell me all this at the start? Next, we get another few kills at the local school. The scene feels a bit disjointed from the rest of the movie, but I guess it's here to show how the Candyman legend is spreading, and to throw a few more kills into the movie. One limitation with the Candyman legend is that you need someone to say his name before a kill can take place. He's not a physical being like Jason Voorhees, who can just burst in anywhere, anytime and start fucking shit up. He has to be summoned, so that can be quite limiting from a writing perspective. Candyman 2021 manages this limitation quite well though, at least explaining or giving characters reason to summon him. We then get back to Anthony, whose bee sting is looking pretty fucked up, and he finally decides to go to the goddamn hospital. Here he learns that he wasn't born where his mother said he was, so he goes and confronts her, and we find out that he is actually in fact the baby who was taken from the first Candyman. She also tells him that Helen actually saved him, and that it was Candyman who was responsible for the crimes blamed on Helen. In complete despair, he wanders through Cabrini Green again, and spots a light in one of the houses. Anthony's girlfriend Brianna gets worried when she doesn't hear from him. She goes to Burke's laundromat at Cabrini Green to look for answers, but is kidnapped by Burke. She wakes up in an abandoned church together with Anthony and Burke. Anthony is pretty comatose at this point and puts up no resistance when Burke cuts his hand off and inserts a hook. I guess he's really allergic to bee stings or something. Burke's plan is to make Anthony look like Candyman and blame him for the recent murders, knowing that the cops will gun him down in cold blood and start a new legend. I find it a little insulting that in a movie that is commenting about racist police, here we have a black guy framing an innocent black guy for murders that a black ghost committed. Maybe the cops should have been framing Anthony instead. Anyway, Brianna gets away and Burke chases her until she's cornered in one of the abandoned houses, where she kills him with a pen. Wow, the Joker would be so proud. Anthony then appears but collapses. The police arrive and play ball, shooting Anthony dead without question. Brianna is brought to the back of a squad car, where a policeman attempts to blackmail her into saying that Anthony attacked them, and that they acted in self-defense. Brianna thinks, "Fuck that shit," and summons Candyman through the rear view mirror. Candyman appears now as Anthony and massacres the police. One cop tries to make a run for it, but Candyman catches him in an alley and kills him. Candyman's head is now a swarm of bees, and it looks creepy as fuck as he floats towards Brianna. Gradually a face appears in the swarm of bees. It's Daniel Robitaille, the original Candyman. Tony Todd, who plays Daniel, looks at Brianna and says, "I got me another paycheck, bitch!" And then the movie ends. Horror is often at its best when there's some deeper meaning or metaphor behind all the action. For example, Dawn of the Dead is well known for its commentary on capitalism and consumerism. Candyman ups the game, offering up multiple social commentaries, including gentrification, police racism, and cultural appropriation. The message in Dawn of the Dead is fairly subtle. A character never actually says something like, "Hey, these zombies are like humans that are mindlessly consuming products in a capitalist society." But Candyman is a little less subtle, and sometimes heavy-handed. At the start of the movie, the characters actually have a conversation about gentrification, in case you didn't know what it is. But the messages hit hard, and there's a lot of gravitas about them, especially the end sequence. I think Candyman went overboard trying to cram too much into the story. In a world where 2+ hour runtimes are the norm, it's odd that Candyman, a movie with so many ideas, has a standard 1 hour 30 minutes runtime. It's just not enough time to explore everything on offer. There's actually a ton to love about the new Candyman movie. The cinematography is great, and the whole film is full of creative flourishes, from the backwards logos at the start to the silhouette puppet shows. The music is unique and creative too. It's not your bog standard horror score, and we get a nice reimagining of the original Candyman theme. Acting too is top notch, except for this scene. The laziest cover-up attempt since the Roman Catholic Church said they weren't interested in little boys.
Anthony, we are beyond sensitive artist bullshit. What is going on?
Dialogue is generally inoffensive, except for this scene.
Let's go faster! Let's go faster!
Is this a Jurassic Park reference? In a fucking horror movie?
Must go faster.
It totally ruins the tone of the scene. Hey, maybe put something more appropriate in there like, fuck! The kills are pretty good too. In this movie, Candyman is more spirit-like, where you can't see him except for in mirrors or reflective surfaces, so there's tons of clever framing and creative camera angles. Director Nia DaCosta does a good job there. Horror icon Jordan Peele also wrote and produced. Gore-wise, Jordan Peele movies are usually quite light on the red stuff. This isn't a complete gore fest either, but it's a step up from a movie like Get Out. When I watched that one, I had to get out of the room because there wasn't any gore. But it isn't all great. It's also a lot cleaner looking movie. A lot of the grime and claustrophobia of the original is absent. Whether that's meant as some visual metaphor for gentrification, I don't fucking know. Candyman as a character has been drastically reduced to just dealing out the odd death. Unlike the original, he doesn't really talk or seem to have a mind of his own up until the end. So anyone who enjoys a good Tony Todd monologue is sure to be disappointed.
I am the writing on...
Finally, to me, Burke's plan to frame Anthony and spread a new Candyman story never really made sense, because the old Candyman story was already spreading. Why not just use that one? And if the plan was to somehow make a new Candyman that's more like an Avenger, as the movie sorta suggests, then how did he know this was the way to do it? Did he look in Tobin's spirit guide?
Tobin's spirit guide.
Yeah.
There you go. Most things aren't so black and white. They're mostly grey. So, Gorehounds, is Candyman terrorific? It's a bit of a mixed bag of candy.
Willy Wonka was born to be a Candyman.